He's another strong veteran player at 48. He doesn't get to play a lot of national events, but performs well when he does.
Paul's held off to the right side. Good solid low push away and backswing. Left arm outside for good balance. He stands very upright at the foul line, creating that good loft. Nice stable position.
Jim MacLellan from Sudbury, Ontario is back for a second time. In '84, he lost in the first round, but he's a good one. Last year, he was third in the Nationals and fifth in the Masters.
Jim's got a very short, deliberate three-step approach, but he's got a good push away, high backswing, stays low through this slide step area. Again, good balance, but a powerful stroke.
Pressure is building up. It's Paul Traynor of Fernie, BC, Jim MacLellan of Sudbury, Ontario. And Jim has been here before in '84. Phil Traynor has his first chance, actually, at this competition. And we should remind you that 16 started this competition. And only 4 will make it to that semifinal round. And then 1 will come out of there as the overall champion. And Paul Traynor just leaves that left corner.
Good start from Paul. Again, with most of these players, when they haven't been on TV before, they were a lot of them a little bit concerned about, getting off to that good start. So he's hit the middle. Let's see if he can cover up this corner pin.
He's 48 years old. Keeps himself in good shape. About 5'8 and a half, 165. Good shape. He's a fire chief in the city of Fernie, and he starts with a spare. Now, this fella, Jim MacLellan, is from Northern Ontario, Sudbury. He's just 43. Big fella, strong, 210, 5'9", rolls it fairly well. Oh! My goodness.
Good-looking pocket hit, and just didn't get a break on that corner pin. Either of the corner pins.
Split out there, and nothing happened. Look at this. 3 pins just blew by everything, didn't they?
Both 3 pins went straight back, and the ball. Thought he might have got a break from that head pin bouncing off the side wall, but...
It's a wild piece of wood, wasn't it?
Tough reaction for him.
Jim was in our competition in '84, and he lost in the preliminary round. Made $500 actually, old 214. Now he's been over 4,000 in 15 provincial final qualifying games, and he's had a 10-game house round of 29.77, which is really good. That's close to 300. That's a hot roll.
Jim's a good quality player. He's got lots of experience in both the Masters national finals and the Canadian 5-pin finals. No stranger to match play.
Well, last year he was 5th in the Masters in the singles, so, he can play. Pulled it off.
Knew he missed that one right away.
Actually, he competed at 2 national championships in 1990, last year. Masters and, of course, classified. And he was involved in the Canadian 5-pin bowls national finals. Placed there. No kickback, no break there at all.
It's pretty tough. Jim's thrown some pretty good balls in these 2 frames and hasn't gotten a break.
I was just going to say, look, the splatter's just not going his way. Very calm fellow, though. Nice to talk to. Sings to himself. You can see his lips moving there.
Yeah, he'll be talking to himself after these 2 frames.
He does some coaching, works with the youth in his area. He's a minor at Inco in Sudbury, Ontario, and he goes through his first 2 frames at 28. Tough start, but it's early. The left corner pin was left by Paul Traynor in his first frame. Now he starts his second, but he's on a spare. Got away with something, I think, there.
That was another good shot, actually, Ernie. Paul's another one of our players using their own bowling balls. He's got a 4 7/8" diameter ball. A little bit lighter than most of the players are using. It's only 3 pounds 8 ounces. So,
he throws the ball in a way that it looks like he's really going to hook, and yet it doesn't hook that much. Now watch it. See, he puts lots of spin, but it doesn't seem to hook that much.
A little bit because of the speed, also a little bit because of the way he palms the ball and then just comes straight through it.
He really doesn't flip it over, in other words.
No, not like, for instance, a Mark Zawatsky, who we saw last week.
His wife,
Betty Ann.
Nice lady, Betty Ann, yes. A little nervous, I think, but she'll get through it all. Oh, boy. Again. 3rd consecutive corner pin. He's spared the first 2. Well, they were on the left. Now he gets a chance to clean up the right side. So actually, he's getting the maximum out of leaving the corner so far.
He's made good shots on both of these.
Holds it fairly well traditionally, doesn't he?
Right in the center of his body. And goes straight through it. Good spare again.
So he had 3 consecutive corner pins. He did the best he could possibly do. Picked it up on the spare, and he has 3 consecutive spares.
We may see Paul make a change. Talked to him a little earlier, and he said that if he ran into some corner pin problems, what he may do is change his target arrow on the lane.
Just off the center.
Well, it didn't look like Jim got it out on the lane, and that's one of the keys for him. He's got to get the ball down the lane to be successful.
Kind of a compact delivery here, isn't it? Gets down pretty
Good,
well.
solid at the foul line, but you can see there he looked down at his foot to make sure that he had finished his approach in the right position.
Yeah, tough time to adjust in the middle of a game, isn't it? But you got to do it.
Well, these players have enough experience that they can make those kind of adjustments.
You did there.
Good second ball.
You bet. Very good second ball. First fill for him. A spare in 3. Couldn't have come at a better time because he trails by half, as you see, 28-56 after 3. But at the top, Paul Traynor's had 3 consecutive spares. But fairly close, actually. Nobody's running away with anything yet. A strike here could do some good, and he got it.
There's the good shot we were looking for. Good follow-through and extension on that one.
Look at the splatter back here, Bill. It is almost perfect.
See, once again, the bowling ball took out the right corner pin, or the left corner pin that time. Good shot by Jim.
You bet. Nice work on that pin cam from back. You can really tell what the action is there. Got another. Oh, thought he had it.
Another good shot by Paul. He's staying. That was in the left-hand pocket, left the right corner pin. 2 shots in a row.
4th consecutive corner pin. 2 left, 2 right. It's Army bowling, isn't it? That's right. Oh, got it. Well, I'll tell you.
Well done spare.
I admire the way he's picking them up because that will disillusion a bowler, but he just hangs in there and gets a spare. He's getting the best he can get out of a corner pin. 58 now for MacLellan. Traynor has 84 in the 3rd and working on a spare.
Well, a lot of these players will look at it, though, Ernie. If they get 9 or 10 corner pins in a row and spare them all, they're still looking at a game of 280. And in most match play situations, that's going to get you a victory. That's
a very good point you make there, Bill, because if you spare every time in there, you're going to be beating a lot of people.
They work real hard on their spare shots, as well as making sure all the strikes.
You call that grinding it out, don't you?
Right.
Yeah. Spare here or not? No. Missed it on the 5th frame. So that string comes to a halt. The best he can do now is add 15 to 104 at the halfway point.
And he's given Jim MacLellan an opening here.
Boy, he missed that one twice in a row. So he really doesn't do much in the 5th. Only picks up 5 pins. That 10 pins he missed there could make a big difference in this contest. Now, he's reached the halfway point at 109. And it's just reaching the halfway point now for Jim MacLellan, who has 58 in the 3rd and a strike in the 4th. He doesn't
Jimmy pulled that.
Yeah, he doesn't like the way he's delivering the ball. He just smacked his hands and he looked down at his foot. So obviously something is bugging him here right now, and he can't seem to get the tempo or something.
One of the biggest things for Jim was to make sure that he got the ball out on the lane, and that time it looked like he just set it down a little early.
See?
And comes back on the other side.
Yeah, he's shaking his head, and he said, I adjusted for that. It's not working, so it happens. It's really tough when you have to make the adjustments when you have to win.
Well, and there's not much time to make any adjustments in this game. We've only got 10 frames, and we're halfway through. Fortunately, the match is still close. Nobody's running away with it.
Well, see, after the 5th frame, it's, let's see, 109 in the total for Paul Traynor, 98 a total for Jim MacLellan. So there's only a total of 11 points difference with 5 frames to go. Nobody's got this locked up. Anything can happen.
No, not at all. One of them's got to make a move, though, and start to see if they can put some pressure on the other fella.
Well, there's the first one.
Good ball by Jim on that one. He got it out on the lane. Good follow-through. And good reaction from the pins.
Look at this.
You can see the ball just looking a little bit of a hook away from the head pin there.
Almost too thin, wasn't it?
And the 3 pin covers up that corner pin.
but he just barely got that left side. Just barely nudged it over. But
good reaction.
Down, you bet. Good reaction. Big strike, too, for...
See here if Paul Traynor can respond to that strike of Jim MacLellan's. That was a good-looking shot, and again, leaves that big split.
I can't believe, look at his score here. He's had 4 consecutive corner pins, then he almost bombed in the 5th, and now in the 6th, he split it. Almost had that corner both ways. That wild pin.
Lots of bouncing around from the head pin, but didn't help him out by knocking over either corner pin.
First time he missed a corner. Could that be frustration? Oh, he's still in it, you know. Nobody's out of this game, so...
Not at all. He could be getting a little frustrated, and that's always a danger when you start leaving a lot of corner pins, and especially on aces on a ball that he threw pretty well. Yeah, particularly when his opponent has a strike to work on in the 6th, as you see, and he has 122 in the 6th, and a split that he had to work on there. That was a tough break, but he's got 4 frames left. 7th frame now for Paul Traynor. Here's always the danger, Ernie, when you start to get a couple of bad breaks like aces and maybe a few corner pins in a row. Now you're going to try and make a change to see if you can get some strikes and
force it out, huh?
Force it a little bit, and the danger of missing the middle as Paul just did. But he gets the spare coming back.
Yeah, that was a good one. Needed that. He had gone 3 frames without anything, 2 consecutives, and now in his 3rd he picks up spare. So this brings Jim MacLellan in here. And Jim, at 43, would just love to add this championship to his credit. He said he's been thinking about it for a long time. Uh-oh, got a double.
That was a great ball by Jim. Good, solid work at the foul line and got the ball down the lane again, which is one of his keys.
Yes,
he's going to take his time here and make sure he's set.
He bowls several games a week. You know, he said sometimes about 15 will be his average, and then he ups it certain times when he's going into a tournament.
Done a lot of practice this last couple of weeks, he told me, because he's not bowling as much in league play. He's concentrating more on coaching the kids in the youth bowling program at Notre Dame Bowl in Sudbury.
Well, he just took the lead here by about 11 points in the 6th.
Needs to cover this up for a spare to keep that pressure on. Back and forth, and another opening for Paul Traynor now.
I can't believe they're both having such bad luck here. They're popping corners, they're going through the house, splitting, doing everything, and it's still close. It's good to go down to the last ball. Yeah.
All right, good cover up by Jim.
Gets 15. Now, he has 173 after 8, but it's interesting here because if he strikes, if Paul Traynor comes up and strikes, he will have a total of 152 in the 7th, and we'll have a very close game once again. It might go down to the last ball.
Good possibility in this match, Ernie. It's very close because nobody's running away with it. Another good ball by Paul, and a little bit of frustration there. You can see he thought he had a strike.
I'm not laughing at the bowling, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't believe that much is happening to both of these players. Good pickup.
Good spare by Paul.
Bet. Well, that kept him in it. This is a very close game right now. 2 frames left for each player. 150 to 158 in the 7th. 173 to a spare and 150 in the 8th. Very close. Traynor and MacLellan. Boy, these are very important frames now. You got to hit it in the middle and get them with the thick, as they say. Oh, there it is.
And that was the danger again, as we talked about earlier. And you're, getting a little bit frustrated with a lot of corner pins, and looked like he just forced that one into the pocket.
Now that head pin in the 9th has just almost tied the game up in the 8th frame. Picks up the right side. He has to pick up all the stuff here, because the way corner pins are being left and splits are coming, you never know what's going to happen to the opposition.
Well, the strikes in this game have really been few and far between, so it's going to be a question of who's going to make the last spare, I think, to win this one.
Good pickup there, though, wasn't it?
He cleaned it up well.
185 for him after 9.
Come on, Jimmy.
And now Jimmy MacLellan will roll out his 2 frames and finish. And he may just put this out of reach for Traynor, depending on what he does.
Jim's got a possibility here of 263.
263. Boy.
A little bit thick on that one. But he'll take that corner pin.
Got to take it. I would say he has to make that corner pin. Look at this fly over the top.
You can see the head pin just catch the 3-pin at the top of it as it was going by, and then the 3-pin just lays on the pin deck, doesn't do its job in covering up that corner pin.
He picks this up, he's in good position.
Take his time to make sure of this corner pin.
Yep, all the way. So, a spare. You see, Paul Traynor can get a total of 45 in his last round. He can go 230. Now, Jim MacLellan can get 248 if he strikes out. So if both players strike out, of course, MacLellan will win. Will he do it? Another try? Oh, no.
Another good shot, Ernie.
But a good count on the spare.
Good count coming back on his spare.
Yeah, if he makes this, puts a lot of pressure.
Once again, he just avoided a set of aces there. The head pin covered up the one corner pin, but
I think he can win it with a strike here.
Jim still has a possibility of 231 remaining.
Right, but if...
And Paul Traynor with a possibility of 230, so a spare and a strike puts this match away.
Yep. Does he get it? Okay.
It's a spare.
He got his spare. Now, if he strikes here, he'll finish at 231. Paul Traynor cannot do anything. If he doesn't strike, well, 45 would give a total of, let's see, Carl, what do we have? 230 for Paul Traynor. I can't watch. This is too tense.
One big shot for Jim. He knows he can end it.
Got it. Wow, what a finish. Spare,
good shot by Jim MacLellan.
231, and that did it. Wow, he knew what he had to do and did it, but he was shaking his head because he had to do it all on the last ball. And so it brings up Paul Traynor, whose maximum now is total of 230 if he strikes out. Good finish there for Jim MacLellan, struggling there. Both players struggling, but they brought it right down to the wire. And the head pin there sort of indicates his entire game, doesn't it?
That has been the story.
Yep.
Paul Traynor hit the head pin very well. He just only missed it twice throughout an entire game. Just no strikes at all.
Nothing was happening at all. And Jim MacLellan, on the other hand, the fella from Sudbury, Ontario, the miner from Inco, gets one more pin than this man could possibly get. And that is enough to do all the damage. 195 is what Paul Traynor gets there, while a total of 231 is Jim MacLellan. Look at the scoreboard then. MacLellan, you see, finishes spare, and strike for 231. While, on the other hand, Paul Traynor got the two. And earlier, Bill Foley down Jeff Bourne 209 to 180. Paul Traynor was beaten by Jim MacLellan 231 to 195. So it is Foley and MacLellan for the right to go to the semifinal. And Bill, this is quite a match. A lot of pressure here because there's only one more spot in that final four. What's going to happen?
It is, Ernie, and we've seen in our previous two matches today, the pinfall has been really tough. These players are going to have to be hitting the middle, converting all their spare opportunities, and making sure of cleaning up all their wood. That'll determine who our winner will be.
You talked about the tough pinfall. Now, is it the delivery? Is it the way the lanes were set up? What's happening?
It can be a combination of many things. It can be a combination of the weather outside this weekend. It can be just the pins that we're using in play, the balls the players are using.
Well, both players have gone through that first round today, and they've had to make adjustments. Jim MacLellan, as you see, has had an average of 270.2. It's incredible, but got through with 231 in his first round. He's out first, and he'll roll one frame, sit down, and then watch his opponent, Phil Foley, go for two. Almost got a spit back there to catch something, but again, he's not hitting that pin the way he wants it, not hitting the corner or the center. Can spare this up, though, and get a good start.
Good cover up by Jim. He finished off that last game in good shape with a strike, a couple of spares, and just needed to keep it going here early in this match.
Yeah, he got what he had to get in the last frames, and that won it for him.
I will see if a little bit of a layoff has affected Phil Foley at all. Of course, he's been sitting out during the last game. That was a good-looking shot he made there.
He was
A little
doing
bit
that.
thin.
Yeah. Just a bit thin. Okay, let's see how that did. No, he didn't really get that hit pin very clean, did he?
No, hit it pretty thin, and you can see it just kicked over the 3-pin, and then the 3-pin lays on the pin deck.
Can't do anything from there. And is that a spare or not? Yes. So, good start, both players, as they fill with spares. And both of these players are very capable. MacLellan can roll the hot streaks. He's had over 4,000 in 15 games. Foley has had a perfect game, and he's had just under 4,000 in 15 and over 3,000 in 10. That's over a 300 average, so they can roll it.
Both of them quite capable, but again, because of maybe the little tougher pinfall here, this weekend in particular, it's going to be a matter of who gets the most spares and who cleans up their wood properly.
Foley has a strike and a spare to start. Good start for him. MacLellan now has to do the same to keep pace.
Jimmy taking his time. He wants to make sure on every shot this game.
He's had a high game of 403. Hasn't had the perfect game. Says it's going to come someday. Not today, of course, but should someone roll the perfect game in our series, it's $50,000. What a payday that would be, particularly if you could win it all. It'd be a $75,000 championship 5-pin.
It'd be a real big bonus.
Yeah, it's possible. You know, we have some great bowlers coming into the final. Someone could do that. He's going to pick them all up. Yes, he does.
Good cleanup by Jim.
35 pins for him after 2 on a head pin, which was preceded by a spare. Best he could do, really. But his opponent, Phil Foley, is off to a pretty good start. Spare and a strike.
Another good-looking shot by Jim. Just doesn't seem to be able to cover up that corner pin.
What kind of a splash is he getting here? Because it's, look at this.
It looked like a good shot. He gets the 3-pin and the bowling ball both going inside the corner pin.
Nice pickup.
Good pickup. Shoots that cross lane. A little bit of a hook shot.
There's a nice feeling between the players here. They're always giving you the lower high five and congratulating anyone in a good strike or a couple or a triple. It's a friendly atmosphere, but very, very competitive just the same.
Very competitive. But these players, a lot of them have seen each other in big tournaments and here in the CBC show as well.
Working on a strike. Head pin doesn't do you much good. So he'll have to try and pick up 5 on the left side to get the biggest count he can on this in the strike. Oh, just got 3 more there.
Just touched that 3-pin and rolled it over. He's going to want to clean up the big side, make sure of 13 on this one.
Very even match right now.
All of our matches today, nobody's really run away with any games. They all come down to the last 2 or 3 frames.
That's what we're looking for. We've had a couple of high games, pretty high rollers, like Mark Potvin at 322, pretty high. Yeah, 63 there for Foley after 3, and a 35 and a spare for MacLellan, as you saw on the scoreboard.
Phil got a little bit quick on that one by the looks of things.
Yeah, you're not hitting that head pin. Something is desperately wrong. I was told by some bowlers that you should hit the head pin 96 out of 100 times.
At this level of competition, yeah, you need to hit it 9, 10 times in 11 or 12 frames.
Doesn't necessarily mean a strike, but you should hit the head pin.
You've still got to have those big counts. If you hit the middle, possibility anything can happen. Even if you leave a corner pin, you get a good chance to spare it up and get to the 270, 280 mark.
Jim MacLellan, he yelled, yeah. He didn't even get that spit back there off the wall, but good chance for a spare.
This time it looks like Jim changed his angle just a little bit. He went to the other pocket. He went to the right pocket. And still.
Look at that crazy
tough
pin.
Pinfall. That head pin coming off the side wall. Just didn't quite kick over the corner pin.
63 for MacLellan after 3. And what he gets here, is it a spare?
And once again, good spare shot. Both these players keeping their heads in the game and not getting frustrated by the lack of strikes, but they're making sure on their spares.
All tied up after 4. 63 and a spare. That's identical scores for both players as they hit the halfway mark, the 5th frame. Jim MacLellan. Oh, boy, he didn't like that. He just put his head down and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing, Jimmy?" But he recovers. He scolds himself, but then settles right down.
Take a deep breath and try and forget about that ball he just threw.
Yeah. Nice fella. Very.
Points back at the pins. That's what he wanted to see.
Yeah, well, look at him back there. He's had a head pin, a corner pin. He's had 4 spares out of 5 frames. He's doing about as good as he can do with what is happening to him. So, on the other side, we have a head pin and kind of a nothing frame there, and then striking 2 spares and another
There's
strike.
a good ball by Phil Foley again.
He gets his strike at the halfway mark and takes the lead by 10 in the 4th. He liked it. What's this?
Good concentration by Phil. Good and solid at the foul line.
Is that overreacting, would you say? Very, very close. 83 to 93 after 4, and they both have a fill in that 5th frame. They're halfway through. Lots to go here. Anything can happen.
Double here for Phil Foley would be really a big
mark. Very big mark. Puts a lot of pressure on his opponent. He knew it, too. He went down on one knee and said, "Yep, that's it."
Again, all of these players, when they're shooting a particular arrow, they know when they get it close to that arrow, they got a chance.
Yeah. Perfect spot.
That one's good reaction from the pins.
Just blitzed every pin off there. There was no question. So now, all of a sudden, Jim MacLellan, who is looking fairly good, very, very close, has a spare in the 5th, is looking at a double on his opponent. He's got to get strike. Did.
Good response by Jimmy.
Yeah. Nice work.
That's his first strike of the match, and it comes at a really opportune time for him. He says, "Thanks very much."
He just got to stop yelling like that and making all kind.
Good and set at the foul line. Nice position.
Oh, just off the right.
Just pulled that one a little bit.
Can't seem to get the string going, can he? He did get 231 with a string at the right time in his first match against Paul Traynor to win. Can't afford to let up. Nice pickup.
Good spare again. Both our players keeping their games clean. When they've had a chance to make a spare, they've come through. The only open frames we've had have been the 2 head pins. One
Billy,
each.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but looking at this stage of the game right now with Foley on a double, leading after 4, if he gets the triple here, the turkey, he could really hurt Jim MacLellan.
Certainly make it a lot tougher.
Yeah. Got a full count there on his other, well, almost a full count on the 5th. But a spare here. But a strike would have really done some damage. The spare actually still doesn't let him run away from MacLellan.
No, MacLellan's got 3 frames left.
Yeah.
He can put together 135 plus in those last 3 frames with his spare up in the 7th. So Jim's certainly got room.
Yeah.
Phil needs this spare, though, to keep his lead in the match. And he does.
Yeah.
Good spare.
So he spared 7. He has 166 in the 6th frame, so he leads by 23 after 6, and they both have a spare in 7. You see the spares there, but looking back into the 6th, it's a 23-point spread in favor of Foley, but still 3 frames to play. Lots can happen. A lot of pins can be picked up, especially if you strike out.
Phil taking his time. He wants to make sure of this one. A little bit thick, but really good rotation on the ball. He got away with a maybe not quite as good a shot on that.
Yeah, look at this. Almost hit that head pin straight on. Just touched the 3 pin out there and left the corner. 194 for him in 7. Big count on his spare. If he gets this, he's still in pretty good shape.
Again, he's got to make sure of the spare, though, Ernie.
Yep.
And he does.
He looks away before he even got within 15 feet. So spare in the 8th. It's up to Jim MacLellan now. 7th frame, he has spare. He likes team play. As you see, they finished 3rd in the Nationals. Strike is all important here. Has he got it? Yes!
That was a little better ball by Jim. That little hook he throws, and it just broke across the face of the head pin.
Keeping pace here. Good slot there where he hit it.
You see the ball react? It's turning over and breaking from right to left.
Yep.
A good hook ball. Jim MacLellan with a possibility of 308. Phil Foley with still got 314 remaining.
That's if they strike out, right?
Right.
Okay. Ooh.
That looked like exactly the same shot as last frame, Ernie. That's two real good shots in a row by Jim MacLellan.
He's had 3 strikes in the last 4 frames. He likes it too.
And he knows it's close.
Oh boy. Such emotion. Well, you know, in the last match against Paul Traynor, he came on very strong in the last 2 frames. If you remember, spare, strike, and that did it. It looks like he's on a double, well, a spare and 2 strikes. Good comeback there, but left the right corner. Still, he needs a spare here to pick it up.
And you can watch again. This one just a little bit thin, and the bowling ball goes inside that right corner pin. Leaves it standing.
I'd say you'd have to have spare here.
He's really got to take his time and make sure of this spare.
Yeah.
This match is far from over, so.
Yeah. Got to have a spare. Hurry. Oh, boy.
Didn't look like he got to the foul line in very good position that time, Ernie. He almost bounced the ball.
Yeah. Looked like he came at it just a little bit on a bad angle, but that's only from our angle here, so he doesn't get a fill in 9. And as he picked this up, no, he missed the last 2 pins. Gives him 13, total of 35. He can only add 45 to that, which would give him a total of 280, right? 280 is his maximum, but he's at 235 in the 9th. But see the double that MacLellan is working on in 9 and 8. If he strikes here, he adds an automatic 45 into the 8th.
He's got a possibility of 280, and he really needs to get this first one in to put some pressure back on Jim MacLellan.
Got it.
Good shot by Phil.
MacLellan was on that double, and we were saying if he gets another one, he gets 45. But now that strike is 45, 280, you pointed out. I wonder what Jim is looking at right there, just sort of glancing at the scoreboard.
I think he's just checking out the scoreboard just to see exactly what he needs.
Yeah. Pretty cool, I would say. Another one. Good kickback.
Good ball by Phil again.
Yeah. All right. Nice
watch
play.
The reaction on this
double
one.
There.
Good ball. He back up into that left-hand pocket, and he gets the 3-pin coming off the side wall.
Look at this from the backside. There's the kickback over there. Watch this. Nicely done.
3-pin off the wall.
Yeah.
He's happy.
You bet. Phil's coming back here with
got a break
in the 10th.
And that's a big shot.
Yeah. Looking back now, that 9th really did him in, didn't it?
Well, not yet. There's still a possibility.
Still a possibility, yeah.
He's got 280 left with a strike here on his last ball. Rushed that one a little bit, but did get a bonus.
Yeah. That may be all important, just the way that kickback came there, depending on what Jim does in his final frame. So he finishes with 273. 273. And that is for...
Jim MacLellan needs 100 in these last 3 frames, and he's got a double working.
So he has 45 automatically in the 8th if he makes a strike. So, get the calculator, Billy. 273. Good score by Foley. Came back strong last time.
That was a little bit thick, but I don't think Jim certainly expected a set of aces on that ball.
He has 214 in the 8th. And what can he add in the 9th? He can add 20.
Not enough. The only chance he has is to spare it, and that's
and it's
we don't see that.
We've seen it happen with Pat Pinko. Yeah, didn't get it over enough. Huh? So you see his spare here, or his total on the second strike is, let's see, 242. Best he can do is 15. He could finish at 257. 57. That split just killed him. It can happen to the best. He hit it right in the middle, but in the middle doesn't count. Tough break, Jim MacLellan.
That really was. Jim bowled a really, really good game, and
he did. There's no
tapped a little in the 10th frame on that ace.
55. Look at this score. The double up there looks so good. It looked like MacLellan would just have it all locked up. All he needed was a strike in there to do it. But he hit that dreaded split.
He'll go.